This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. 5 years ago, deep in a bear market, a group of traditional finance experts founded BitGet, and they've been building ever since. Now, with 20 million users worldwide, BitGet is committed to helping users trade smarter by providing a secure one-stop crypto investment solution with copy trading, future trading, and spot trading. Your security is their priority, and BitGet has one of the largest protection funds in the industry, with US $300 million to cover potential trader losses from unforeseen events that are not due to misconduct from the user or platform. BitGet wants to inspire everyone to embrace Web3, so if you're new to crypto, learn more at the BitGet Academy with free blockchain courses, crypto guides, cryptocurrency trading strategies, and more. Or for the experienced investor, trade smarter with daily access to institutional-grade crypto market intelligence and trends analysis with BitGet Research. I've put links to BitGet Research and the BitGet Academy in the show notes, so get amongst it or simply go to bitget.com. Thank you to BitGet, and now it is on with the show. My guest today is Gabriel Barros. Gabriel is a developer advocate at Cartesi, an app-specific rollup protocol with a virtual machine that runs Linux distributions. Very interesting. So we'll learn all about this today. Welcome to the show, Gabriel.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here, Andy. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, and nice to have you here. Let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. Gabriel, if you could please introduce yourself, would be great to just hear a little bit about your personal and professional backstory, and what you've been doing in the lead up to getting involved with the team at Cartesi.
Well, sure. So I'm a Brazilian computer engineer, and as I graduated, I got hired by Consensus. So I've been working with blockchain since 2016. And by 2020, I joined the Cartesi ecosystem to help them develop further the rollups, what came to be the rollups. And for about a year and a half, I've been working as a developer advocate, working on hackathons, panels, podcasts, trying to bring attention to this technology.
Got it. Makes sense. Developer advocate. I like it. So I suppose we should learn a little bit about what Cartesi is then, and then we can, we'll talk about that and, your work and I suppose trying to foster the ecosystem and attract more developers. But just love to understand a bit more about what Cartesi is then, Gabriel.
For sure. So Cartesi is a project, is a community, and it's also sometimes confused by the Cartesi Foundation itself that supports the whole ecosystem. But I'd say Cartesi, the core of Cartesi is the Cartesi machine. So the project starts in 2018, seeking to develop this verifiable machine that later on takes the shape of a RISC-V architecture. We can talk about that. And eventually, as time goes by, they developed a few approaches on how to tie that into the blockchain. And the most recent one, and the one that we've been pushing forward, is the optimistic rollup in the format of an application-specific rollup. And it brings the ability for people to create their dApps using a Linux OS as the base of it. So differently from what we've been seeing so far, which looks like embedded systems for people who are familiar with it, which is standalone programs. The ability to have Linux there brings back the feeling and the tooling that people used to program with when they're working with Web 2 technologies. And that makes a whole lot of difference. But we can get into these details as we develop further the conversation.
Yeah, well, so I understand. Well, that's probably a good idea then, I guess, Gabriel. So I guess what you're saying is the idea with the Cartesi machine is to, make more complex dApps available, right? Or give developers the ability to deploy more complex dApps. So talk about, from your perspective, as to, the Cartesi approach as to why you're pursuing, the application-specific roll-up path that you guys are on, and why you think that is the correct way to encourage developers to bring their dApps to your ecosystem.
I think it's a two-way answer, so to speak. I think application-specific fits like a glove for Cartesi, and vice versa. So I won't say here, I won't advocate here that's the only way or the right way to go. But when you think about how the internet developed, you can feel like what we have today as blockchain systems is much more akin to the protocols, and we call them protocols. So that's not absurd to just assume that's the phase we are right now. And people don't know about SMTP protocols, but they use Gmail, they use Outlook. People don't know about the HTTP or HTTPS further than that's why they write in the URL bar. But these are the things that sustain the applications, right? And the idea here is with application specific, we go back and more close to how things are working nowadays on the Web2 ecosystem. So when you think about big companies or even smaller companies, they all have their little siloed systems, and they only integrate as they need to do something extra, right? Something that goes beyond their responsibilities. So if you think about a marketplace site, everything happens within the servers of that company until they need to connect to MasterCard or Visa to process a payment. And application specific brings the idea back. So basically, instead of creating these little applications, they're very limited. They only can run and do so much per transaction. The idea here is you can have a whole, I won't say company, because we are not talking about companies anymore. We're talking about DAOs and these decentralized projects, but you can think of it like you can have a whole company system behind a DApp, making the whole ecosystem of itself integrated. And then we shift a little bit the ideas behind composability. Composability goes back to just being API integrations, such as it is right now in the Web2 world. I don't know if I was too deep into the details of this explanation. If anything was too technical, please let me know.
No, I think that's about striking the balance about right, Gabriel. And look, I think you can go further, because I was just looking through the Cartesi website, which listeners, I guess, obviously the link is in the show notes, but it is cartesi.io, spelling Cartesi, CARTESI.io. But do you want to just explain more about the kind of resources then that are available to developers who are looking to, try and go beyond Ethereum, beyond the EVM machine, and test out what you guys are doing at Cartesi and the kind of resources that are available?
For sure. I think as a entry point, that the site they just divulged is a good way to get started, because you can go to our documentation and see further links there. But just as a way to list a little bit of the resources and what we're trying to do to incentivize people, we have a repository called Rollups Examples with several examples there that display a little bit how you can use several languages, programming languages, to code your dApp, and even using extra tooling. We have as well a thriving community on Discord, ready to help. Also, it's important to notice Cartesi is not a siloed project, so every grantee that is developing the core functionalities are already inside the Discord community, and they are basically syncing between themselves over there, so you can really see the whole process transparently. And that is really good because it is the guys that are writing, for instance, the node of Cartesi who are going to answer your questions. It's really tight in that sense. And as a developer advocate, I cannot uh, miss to say that we have what we call dev seed grants. Basically, if you have a POC, if you have this cool idea that you want to develop, or some tooling that you think it's going to help people get started, or even support the projects as they move further along the development process, we're offering up to $5,000 to these ideas, so we see them grow. But then these are just to get started at Cartesi, right? But when you think about what we are trying to promote is basically getting back to what you had before. So as you learn how to use that one thing or two that Cartesi makes different, you can go back to use your VS Code or your preferred IDE, debugger, languages. And if for example, at the Rolex example, you're going to see people using SQLite databases to code their dApps. So it really is the merge between what you already had as resource to develop your application before, plus what we are trying to add on top to make your life easier. So blockchain is basically a second thought when you're developing your application.
Yeah, got it. Thank you, Gabriel. One thing that I thought was interesting is you may or may not be aware, Gabriel, but it is the 30th anniversary of one of the most popular and highly influential, I guess, first-person shooter video games, talking, of course, of Doom. And am I right in thinking that a kind of version of Doom has been put on Cartesi?
Yes, yes, yes. So a while ago, I think February, somebody went on Twitter and posted like, if Ethereum is the world computer, why haven't I seen it running Doom, right? And of course, referring to the fad of trying to put Doom in fridges, calculators, and whatnot.
Yes.
And one of the core contributors of Cartesi did a POC where he put the most recent version of the first version of Doom, when it written in C++, into Cartesi, and people took it and further developed it. We displayed the game in a few places already, and your listeners can try it out right now at world-arcade.vercel.app. We maintain the development URL just so people know this is just a POC. But it's really interesting because what it does is it allows you to run the game inside a Cartesi machine in your browser. So that's a fully verifiable machine doing it. And then it collects all the data that of your gameplay and sends it to the blockchain to be validated. So yes, it's for people who are very critical and who are gamers, avid gamers that know about cheating and stuff. You can still cheat by knowing how to game the engine itself, but everything that you did, it's gonna be verifiable. So if you have that speed run, and it was a crazy speed run, and it made so many kills, and it had such score, that can be fully verifiable on chain right now because of the Cartesi power. And which is what is crazier about this is that it took a weekend for our friend to do that. Imagine if he tried to do it on EVM, even if it is possible. I don't think it is. It would have taken much longer.
Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating to hear because, and I have in my notes, put this into context. So, obviously one of the core problems in blockchain is how to scale. Scalability. Like in 12 seconds, I think ETH can process something like 10 million changes to the blockchain, but Cartesi, 3.6 billion changes in 12 seconds. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. That was part of that analysis was part of our attempt to make people understand the difference. And what we did was we took a very easy approach on Ethereum. an Ethereum can have at most 30 million gas in a block, and the least expensive, still useful opcode on EVM is the addition one or the subtraction, and it costs 3 gas, and that takes like that makes you have 10 million instructions. Theoretically, you cannot, but theoretically you can do 10 million instructions. And then we loaded a simple program inside Linux that does nothing. It's basically just a loop, and we bounded it to 13 seconds, which is the average of a block size on Ethereum, block time, sorry. And in a normal laptop, it was able to do 3.6 billion instructions. That's still much less than a standard computer would do. We gotta be fair, but we are talking about different scale altogether, Andy. You cannot even compare EVM with the Cartesi machine, honestly.
Yeah, well, it sounds like that is the case. All right. Well, look, love to zoom out for a little bit, Gabriel, and just kind of maybe get your perspectives on the wider Web3 community from the point of view, I guess, of the developers, because, as a developer advocate for Cartesi, you're obviously talking to Web3 developers all of the time, and presumably from developers from all across, different Web3 ecosystems, different chains, new developers coming into Web3 from Web2, or just young people just starting out. What do you get in terms of, what's the sense of, I guess, the developer culture and the wider Web3 culture at the moment? It's kind of been, it's a strange time in Web3. We kind of had the big boom back in 2021, been through a crypto bear market, just early signs that maybe we're coming out of that bear market at the moment. Love to get your thoughts.
Sure. When it comes to developers, it's funny. I feel like there are two groups, and the louder group, the more mainstream, so to speak, that we see overall in overall events, we see talking about blockchain and stuff. I feel is very focused is still in Solidity, and I don't know. I feel like it's a mix of a low-hanging fruit, but a higher demand of very well-funded protocols to have these developers there working for them. So I guess that makes sense. But I feel like there's a second group, a little bit under the radar, building stuff in other platforms, in other languages, in different, let's say, blockchain paradigms. And I feel like in 2024, we're going to see them shine. There's crazy stuff being built in Cartesi technology that I know people are not aware of. And I feel like that's got to be similar elsewhere as well. And in that sense, I feel like that's the future, honestly. Going back a little bit to what I said before, we never stopped having developers for the SMTP protocol and all these lower level primitives for the internet. And we always need the internet to keep scaling itself, right? The throughput, the bandwidth of everybody. We talk like about 5G and whatnot. But then there is this other layer of applications being built on top. And I feel like that's a much bigger market, and people are starting to realize that.
Yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense, actually, Gabriel. Thank you for sharing your perspectives. Bringing it back to the Cartesi ecosystem, and I guess specifically your work there as a developer advocate, Gabriel, as we finish up this part of the podcast, again, just run through some of the incentives that you have, some of the initiatives that you have for builders and developers to get involved and bring their dApps to Cartesi. What are the incentives, and what should people do? Where should they go to get amongst it?
I feel like everything starts at the Discord community, honestly. There you can be aware of everything that is going on, even the second ones that I'm going to mention. But it's where you're going to see this community that's ready to support you. For people who just want to know what is the tech and really like seeking to understand the lower level of things and they want some incentive, I'd recommend the Honeypot DApp, for instance. It's a live bug bounty program that we have. So the Honeypot DApp, just quickly explaining, is this mainnet DApp that we deployed that is supposed to be there to incentivize people to hack it and for people to understand how secure Cartesi Tech is. So the foundation will be dropping money weekly onto the DApp, making it larger and larger. Currently, there's about $12,000. It's still not much, but it's going to grow with time, and it's going to prove that that technology is safe. So people who want to understand the nitty-gritty of the protocol might do so with a reward at the end of the line of maybe finding a flaw somewhere and getting the bounty. Then there is the Dev Add Seed Grant that I mentioned, which is really nice for POCs and people trying to build something for the community itself directly. Very short-lived kind of project. It's really a good way to engage. Then there is the Community Grants Program, which is a larger program. It's similar to what other projects do. It can run for larger sums of money, and it's supposed to be applied to those that it might take a few months to a year to be produced. And then we do minor strategies to incentivize people to keep the community. We have like boundless builder NFTs and Git pull-ups for people who contribute to the project success.
Awesome. Well, thank you for running through that, Gabriel. And of course, we'll have links to some of these resources in the show notes, but it all starts in the Discord or cartesi.io. I think, Gabriel, we'll go to a very quick break, and then when we come back, we'll have some fun. We'll run you through the very famous Crypto Conversation hot take round. Back in 1 second.
Hey, what are you still doing up?
I've just spent my entire Friday night researching Bitcoin charts, crypto glossaries. My brain feels like it's going to explode.
Why don't you just use BitGet? It's going to save you at least 10,000 hours trying to learn it yourself. It's an online crypto exchange. You can copy successful real-life traders having their expertise to make smarter trades.
Really?
Yes, really. Don't miss out. Get on it now. And by the time you're done, Bitcoin will be worth about $100,000.
I just got my cat to help me do the research.
Hands off, gains up. Start copy trading on BitGet.
All right, we are back, and I'm with Gabriel Barros. Gabriel is a developer advocate at Cartesi. Cartesi, an app-specific rollup protocol with a virtual machine that runs Linux distributions, as we've learnt today. Gabriel, I like to finish each podcast with a quick round of rapid-fire crypto conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
I'm as ready as I can get, man.
Awesome. Don't worry, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Just give us your kind of honest answers, hot take style. Question one for you. Bit of a funny one, but where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
Me, right in the middle. I like the idea of Bitcoin. I understand the fundamentals of it. I understand the maximalist ideals, but I feel like life is made in between, honestly.
Yeah, that is a great way of putting it. I like it a lot. All right, well, Gabriel, what would you say is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
Firmest? I'd say decentralization and transparency. We cannot have projects that do not abide to that and be called blockchain projects, I guess. I feel like I'm very serious on those 2 points.
I like it. Gabriel, I can see that you worked on the proof of stake pool staking system for Cartesi. Proof of stake in a kind of short and concise way. Why is proof of stake important, and indeed perhaps the future?
I think it's much more democratic and transparent compared to the proof of work, the system that came before. The original system is really good and it was revolutionary. I think there's still space for it. But proof of stake is what's gonna make us one step closer to the ideals that brought people to blockchain, I guess.
Got it. Very nicely said. All right. Well, Gabriel, Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. With that in mind, anything you like. But I guess, Web3, Cartesi, what does it look like in 10 years' time?
Wow. Oh, yeah, that's a lot, man. Honestly, I feel 10 years, like you said, it's really difficult to guess, but I feel like Cartesi can be one of these names that everybody knows, but nobody knows exactly what it's there for. And I think that means success for the Cartesi project. It's still a building block, honestly, and it's not supposed to be about Cartesi itself. It's supposed to be about what you can build with it. So I think in 10 years, success for the project will be being known and understood, I guess, by the broad masses.
I like it. All right. Well, William Gibson said, Gabriel, that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. Can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
I think there is a very simple thing that most of your listeners probably are aware of, but the 7 billion people out there are not, which is cryptocurrency itself. And I travel a lot as part of my job, and sometimes the standard financial system can be messy to allow you to travel with your money and do things. And cryptocurrency make everything borderless, and that's amazing.
Very well said. Very well said. All right. Well, time to finish this off, Gabriel. The final question is, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
Science fiction. I really like Star Trek, honestly.
I like it. That is a great answer. Who doesn't love Star Trek? If you're in crypto, chances are you have at some stage in your life, enjoyed some Star Trek. Gabriel, it has been a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and talking about your work as a developer advocate at Cartesi. Just to finish off, again, Gabriel, shout out your Twitter, the Cartesi Twitter, any of the websites, anything that you like that, and where people should go to get engaged and learn more.
For sure. You guys can find me at Web3GB on Twitter, and Cartesi Project is the official Twitter for the project. I honestly thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed the conversation. I hope to see you guys next time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gabriel. All the best, and bye for now. All right, there you go. That was Gabriel from Cartesi. Hey, Gabriel was great. Fantastic to get his perspectives on Web3 and the Web3 developer culture, I suppose. So if you haven't checked out Cartesi, do suggest you do so. Cartesi.io, best place to start, of course. Well, thank you to Gabriel and the whole team at Cartesi. Thank you to you, the listeners, for listening, even here at the end of the show. We're running up hard against the end of the year. Christmas is coming. 2024 is coming. Bitcoin ETFs, the Bitcoin halving, big year ahead. All right. That's it for today, though, folks. Thanks for listening. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin. See ya.